Well, hello there. Brent here with Bring Your Own Tools. On today's episode, we are finishing off this beautiful deck. If you want to learn how to do it, keep on watching. Let's get started. Okay, our deck is looking oh so beautiful and we're ready for decking. But before we actually get the decking, I figured that we're actually gonna put a picture frame around this deck. So more of a thicker board at the ends, but the thinner board is gonna be like this. But because we have this type of situation, we need to put a little bit more framing in place. So let's get to that.
After part one of this project, I was really hoping to be completely done with framing, but we do have just a little bit more. But this is fairly straightforward. All we have to do is put two pieces of these 2x8s on both sides, nail them in place, but because our framing is already against the house, I use a joist hanger on this side to have proper support for the two joists that will be attaching to the house side. Just remember that it's going to be really difficult to get those nails in there properly without a palm nailer, so I always suggest having one of these bad boys on hand. Once both joists are in place, I then secure them in the middle with some hurricane ties as well as a strong tie just to connect these butt-to-butt joints. Now I do the same thing to the opposite side, and if you haven't watched part one, please check that out because that will give you the full tutorial on all of the framing needed for this deck. Here in the Pacific Northwest, our pressure-treated lumber is notorious for being a little uneven when it comes to the thickness. I literally had multiple boards that were a 1/4 inch different between board to board, which really makes an uneven surface for a beautiful deck. Therefore, if we did have high spots, I took a hand planer, specifically an electric hand planer, and just planed down some of those high spots. That really allowed you to get a much smoother, even surface, and it's very easy to do. I really wish I didn't have to do this step, but it is key, especially when it comes time to installing your decking. But once we have all of the planing taken care of, we can now get to a little G-tape. Now, if you watched part one, I did apply this 4-inch G-tape to the beams below. However, now that we are done with our joists, I can install 2-inch strips of G-tape on all the tops of the joists. We do this because we want to make sure that we protect our pressure-treated lumber over time, because now that we're using a composite decking, the decking itself will last longer than the beams, and we want these beams and these joists to last as long as humanly possible. I did use 4-inch G-tape when we doubled up the joist in the middle of our deck, but all the other joists got 2-inch G-tape. During this whole process, we've had a couple different conversations about what we're going to do with the railing itself, if there's going to be railing or if not. They might not have a railing. However, if we do want a railing, we might as well have some blocking for it. It's going to be a lot easier to get blocking in now versus later, so I install a bit of blocking just in case. And apparently just in time, because all of our decking was literally just dropped off by Dunn Lumber. I'm very excited to open up this package, just not excited to show you all of the work that it took to get into the backyard, so we'll just go straight to cutting. One of the most important things to get right when doing a picture frame deck is the miter, because we want to make sure we have a perfect 45-degree angle, which is why I'm using a compound miter saw. That gives me an ability to get a perfect 45 degrees on all corners, as well as easy straight 90s, which luckily for us is going to be the vast majority of our cutting. I'll be getting into the decking shortly, but let's first talk about the fasteners. And these fasteners are truly remarkable. They are called Cortex fasteners by AZEK, and it's specifically designed for this type of decking because it recesses perfectly within the deck, as well as comes with matching caps, so we can fill every single one of these holes, which leaves a nearly perfect finish in the end. The decking we're using for this project is coming in two different widths, 8-inch and 6-inch. The 8-inch boards are going around the entire perimeter because we want to emphasize the beauty of the picture frame aspect, and then the thinner 6-inch boards will be placed throughout the remainder of the decking area. When doing a deck like this, I always suggest starting with a picture frame first on 2 sides so you can then use that as a guide for the remainder of your boards. Once you have 2 sides taken care of, you can then proceed to your 6-inch decking. And as for your 6-inch decking, one of the most important things to do with it is to space it properly. And to have perfect spacing throughout the entire deck area, I'm using these deck-wise deck spacers when drilling every single fastener. That will guarantee that we have the proper spacing throughout the entire installation process. This obviously adds time to the installation process, but it's so key, especially when you want to have a beautiful deck that comes all the way to the house with the same spacing on both sides, which in our case did. From row to row, we are using deck-wise spacers, but when it's actually butting up against another board like this, I actually took a popsicle stick and just stuck those in specific areas where I wanted a little bit of space, but not too much space, because we want to make sure the ends of our boards has plenty of support from the joists underneath. And the more space we provide at our butt-to-butt joints means the less joists that our decking has to rest on. Did that make sense? If it didn't, let me know in the comments below. When fastening your decking at the butt-to-butt locations, just make sure that the edge that's closest to you has a flush edge with both boards. That will ensure you have the proper spacing throughout the entire installation process. Our 8-inch wide perimeter boards are 16 feet long, therefore I place this 16 foot long in the dead center on this side, which means the 2 small sections on both sides are approximately 2.5 feet long. But now that we have 2 sides of the perimeter taken care of, we can start rocking and rolling on our 6-inch wide boards. The one key aspect with this is the fact that you need to figure out where you're going to stagger and how you're going to stagger the seams. I would highly suggest randomly staggering these seams, because the more you randomly stagger it, the less likelihood that your eye is going to be looking straight at it, versus if they were all consecutively going in the same direction. At this point, I wanted to say a huge and special thank you to TimberTech, who is the sponsor of this week's video, and this is the actual decking we're using for this project. The decking color is called out as English Walnut, and the collection is Vintage. I've used TimberTech on multiple projects, and the fact that they can provide a 50-year fade and stain warranty on this collection is truly remarkable, and the quality of the products and the color selection is my favorite in the industry. And if you want to personally see their amazing product line, check out the link in the video bio. Plus, this product is basically 100% waterproof, which means super low maintenance. And speaking of water,
okay, day back from the family vacay, and of course, it decided to start raining on install. It was like 100 degrees a couple weeks ago, but oh well, Pacific Northwest, let's get to it.
Yes, living in the Pacific Northwest definitely means you're probably going to have to work in the rain at some points, but I would much rather work in the rain than 100-degree heat, so always think positive. As we get closer to the middle section of this deck, the last amount of framing is here, because we still need to install some blocking. And I meant to install this blocking at this point because I wanted to guarantee myself that I wouldn't be able to see any of the blocking from underneath once all the TimberTech decking boards were fully installed. I measure, cut, and gently tap into place all the blocking in every other bay, because we're actually going to do another row of blocking on the opposite side of the beam that you see right there. I tag approximately 2 to 3 nails on each side of blocking and proceed with the next row, and the next one, and the next one. This type of blocking really does provide a lot of strength and stability for the entire framework system, and the best thing about it is that it really doesn't take very much time to do. Once you have your entire row taken care of, you can then proceed to installing your decking right over the top of it. And as you can see, the decking completely conceals all of the blocking, and that's why I also don't have to worry about any type of G-tape over the top, because the decking is right on top. I go ahead and install a few more rows of decking, and then once we're over the beam in the middle, we can proceed to our second row of blocking. The key thing here is just to make sure you're installing this row of blocking in the opposite bays that you installed the previous row in. which basically just means every other row, just every other row. But once we have that row of blocking taken care of, it's a TimberTech decking free-for-all all the way up to the house. Now this is a full picture frame layout, so therefore the last board that we're going to be installing is also going to be an 8-inch board. I cut my mitered corners for the picture frame, and because I didn't want a seam anywhere near the door, I actually used a 16-foot long section there, as well as a 2.5-foot section that I needed to connect it to. The one thing to keep in mind, especially with these mitered corners, is to cut the boards a little bit long. If you keep them long, that means you can just cut them down as needed, because the last thing you want at this point is a board too short, because there's no way of coming back from that. I secure my mitered corner, and once my corner is fully secured, I can proceed to installing the rest of the long length across the house, just making sure that the spacing between the 6-inch board and the 8-inch board are even all the way down. Using the inside corner of the miter, I use that as a guide to figure out exactly where I need to make my cut for all the boards that I kept a little long on this side. I use one of the TimberTech decking boards as a straight guide in order to have a perfectly crisp edge all the way down this side of the deck. I did keep the depth of the saw a little bit short because I wanted to make sure I wasn't cutting into any of the G-tape or any of the pressure treated lumber, because that could act as a weak point later on down the road. I then secured all the ends of the board to lock those in place, and once that was taken care of, I could start installing my picture frame on this side. The layout on this side of the picture frame was exactly the same as the opposite side, where I installed one 16-footer in the dead center and then installed 2.5-foot sections on both sides. Once we have our picture frame fully taken care of, we can proceed to installing our last and final decking row. But specifically with this decking row, we did have to cut it down slightly, which we were easily able to do with our homemade track saw, which is just 2 pieces of plywood. I applied the same type of spacing that I did with all the other boards, making sure there was even spacing across the entire last row. Fasten it down as needed, and guess what? We are not done, because we have about 50% of the screws fully installed. Yep, that's right. I was actually only installing every other joist versus every joist because I wanted to come back at the tail end and snap a chalk line in order to get a perfect and even line of fasteners in every single location that we could. We still needed to make sure that these boards were fully fastened as needed, which is why I still installed half the screws, but the other half I just used our trusty string line to get a perfect line all the way down our boards, and therefore the installation process at this point was extremely easy. And when I mean easy, it just doesn't take a genius to do this, but just know that this does take a little while. Yeah, a few hours on your knees, and you're gonna feel it probably. And of course, the last and final step of this deck project is to fill all of these holes. Yes, we have thousands of holes that we need to fill thanks to our Cortex fastener system. And the amazing thing about this system is the fact that these plugs are the perfect size and the exact same finish as the decking itself. So once you actually plug it into the hole, give it a couple taps on the hammer, and guess what? It nearly completely disappears and you're left with a beautiful finish. Just make sure you're accounting for grain direction, because there is a specific grain for this decking, and if you install the plugs at a different direction of the grain than the actual decking itself, it's going to stand out much more than if the grain is going the proper direction. Keep that in mind, because it is a very important tip if you want a beautifully smooth finish in the end.
And just to take a second, as you can see, this looks oh so good compared to over here, where we have all the holes. But over here, beautiful, crisp. Now, let's do that side.
If you are interested in checking out these fasteners for yourself, I will make sure and leave a link for these, as well as any other tools or materials seen in this video. But with that said, and with all of these caps fully installed, we are done. As you can see, I am ecstatic with how this deck turned out. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it's all about those small little details that aren't truly necessary but make this deck a one-of-a-kind beauty that will truly last for years and years. Huge thank you again to TimberTech for sponsoring this week's video. This is an incredible product that I truly love working with, and I'm hoping to work with it even further. I asked in my last video if you want to see plans, and there were quite a few of you that did, so guess what? I had them made up, and if you're interested in building your own big beautiful deck like this, check out the link in the video description below for free plans that are up now or in the very near future. And that's what I call one beautiful, sexy beast. Oh yeah.